Welcome to Uncharted and Unfiltered, the journey back to you. I am Cynthia Jameson, your host, and this is where we break free from the noise and dive deep into what truly matters you. If you're tired of the shoulds, the expectations, and the pressures to fit into a mold that doesn't serve you, you're in the right place. This isn't a podcast about easy answers or sugar coated advice. This is your invitation to reclaim your path, embrace the unknown, and become the bold, unapologetic version of yourself that's been waiting to show up. It's time to get unfiltered. Let's get started. Hello, hello, and welcome back to an episode of the podcast, Uncharted and Unfiltered, a journey back to you. I am your host, Cynthia Jameson, and I'm so pleased you are here. I feel like I'm on fire today. And here's what I want to talk to you about. I want to pose a question. What if the voice that you have been taught to question is the very one that has been trying to lead you home all along? I have been sitting with that question a lot lately. Over the last month, I've been really working with and being curious about and honing in on my why. And what I keep finding over and over and over again is that at the core of it all is self trust. Every story, every lesson, every chapter of my almost 60 years on this planet, in this body, from corporate boardrooms to coaching circles, from breakdowns to breakthroughs, has been teaching me the same thing. You can't create a life you love if you continue to doubt yourself. Because doubt, even when it's dressed up as humility, is still a way of saying someone else knows better than I do. When I look back, I can see with such clarity how early it started. I was taught, like you were, to trust the systems, education systems, corporate systems, religious systems, familial systems, all of them, all the systems, more than myself. And those systems trained us to trade our knowing for approval, for validation. In school, we were rewarded for the right answer, not the real one. In corporate life, we were praised for composure, not truth. We created systems that measured people by numbers and performance grids. I remember sitting in those HR calibration meetings, listening as someone's entire year was reduced to one sentence in a spreadsheet. And something inside of me would ache because I knew we were missing the soul of it. They all rewarded compliance, not inner authority or creativity or talents, although we could talk about that. And what I have been learning, my life's work, is how to cross that space between external authority and internal authority and trust the one that I was taught to doubt, me. Because it's not just unsafe to speak your truth in those spaces, it's often unsafe to believe it. And I want to take a moment here and acknowledge for any of you that have been there. I see you. I know what it's like because I was inside of those grids too. My worth, my effort, my leadership, my humanity, all of who I was compressed into a rating box that someone else defined, but still I adapted because my beautiful brain made meaning of that experience and told me a story that wasn't the truth. But I believed it anyway. So I learned to be even more polished, productive, predictable, to earn trust by overperforming, to stay safe by staying agreeable. It's the slow erosion of self trust that happens so quietly you don't even notice until one day you do. For me, one of those moments, although there have been many of them, came in November 2011. I'd just come home from work. Nothing extraordinary. It could have been any day, But as I walked the stairs of my split level home, something made me stop. It was like I was outside of myself, looking down at my own self and my own life. And when I turned my head, I saw my husband sitting in the recliner doing absolutely nothing wrong. And honestly, by anyone's standards, there was nothing wrong with my life either. And yet, something inside of me, as clear as day, whispered, this isn't it. At the time, I didn't have compassion, not for him, not for me. I judged, I blamed, I tried to make everyone else see what I saw, to wake them up, to change them. But I was the one being called to change. That pause on the stairway was the beginning of everything shifting. It was my soul saying, you can't keep living this way by someone else's rules or definition of what a good life looks and feels like. It's time to trust yourself. I started asking real and uncomfortable questions to my husband, to my kids, to myself. What's next? What do I want, really? And as much as I wanted others to fix it, to make it easier, the truth was clear. If someone needed to change, if something needed to change, and it did, it wasn't going to be them. If it was to be, it was up to me. So I stopped trying to control and started to listen. I stopped judging and started to feel. And less than a month later, my husband and I sat down and agreed to part ways. It wasn't dramatic or bitter. It was quiet. It was honest, necessary. It was the first time in a long time that I had trusted myself that much. And now I understand compassion for others and for myself. And I understand that judgment is often a cover for fear. And I understand the cost of staying still when your soul is asking for movement. Even in the darkest moments, there's always been that sliver of light, the reminder to remember that there's something within me that still knows the way. That moment on the stairway wasn't just about my marriage. It was a mirror of every place I'd silenced myself to keep the peace. Every time that I'd traded truth for belonging, presence for performance. And what I see now is that the journey has never been about achievement, the titles, the money, the role. It's never been about any of that. It's been about alchemy, pressure becoming presence, tension becoming truth, grit becoming clarity. Self trust is not a one time decision, it is a daily devotion, a practice of remembering and returning. And lately, it's been calling me to look even deeper. Just this week, I received some feedback from one of my mentors who I love working with, and I'm so grateful for the feedback. And as I heard it, I could feel the tension within me rise. That old tug of war between external authority and internal authority. You know the feeling? The one that says, do I change to please them? Or do I stay true to what feels right for me, even if it might be hard? So I didn't rush. I sat with it, the discomfort. I walked with it. I ran with it, literally, out on the trail and feeling into the edges of that discomfort. My old wiring lit up that part of me that still wants an A plus in someone else's book. And what I realized is that I needed to remember whose authority matters more. When feedback comes, it's an invitation, but it's not an order. The real question is, what do I want to do with this? What are my reasons? And do those reasons, do those wants come from love or from fear of what someone else might say or do or think or feel? And that's the moment. That's the moment where self trust either grows or erodes. And it's so fascinating to me. The symbol that keeps revealing itself to me is the diamond, formed through pressure, refined by time, radiant from within, regardless of who sees it. The diamond doesn't matter if it's under your boot or in a beautiful jewelry case, it's still the diamond. It's the perfect reflection of this path that I'm on, this alchemy of grit into clarity, compression into coherence, truth revealed through light. That's what inner authority feels like for me. Coherence, alignment, that quiet audacity to live your truth, even when it's inconvenient. Because when your values, your voice, and your actions are one and the same, you don't have to force power. You become it, grounded, radiant, dare I say, unshakable. Pressure doesn't destroy you, it reveals you. I can look at my life and see that that's what has happened. The very heat we try to escape, those dark moments, those dark nights, is often what brings our brilliance to the surface. Every time I choose alignment over approval, I polish another facet of my diamond. Every time I pause before reacting or act from love instead of fear, I become clearer, not harder, clearer. I've said this so many times on the podcast. You always know it by how it feels. And so maybe today, this is the invitation for you to pause before you seek permission, to notice when you feel pulled to perform, to please, to prove, and instead to ask yourself, hand on heart, what do I know to be true right now? What feels good and right? Not because it's easy, but because it's honest, because that's what self trust is. It's not a roar, it's a quiet, steady returning to the truth that's always been inside of you. It feels like freedom. My truth is not fragile. My knowing is my compass, and my light, your light, is enough. So if this conversation spoke to you, moved you, showed you something, I would love to hear what stirred inside of you, inside of the Porch Light, the Free Be the Light community. It's a space where we practice coming home to ourselves together. And if you're ready to go deeper into this kind of work, to rebuild that unshakable trust in your own knowing, you will find the link for one-on-one coaching in the show notes. I promise you, it is the best gift you could ever give yourself. And I've come here to serve those souls, those who are ready to turn their grit and their grace and more grit again and again into clarity, confidence, and self trust that shines from within. The path is simple, but it's not easy. The path is from pressure to presence to power. And together we walk it through reflection, embodied practice, and intuitive recalibration until calm becomes the baseline. So until next time, my invitation is to you to keep coming home because the world does not need another version of someone else. It needs the most trusting version of you. Take care. I love you all. Have a great week. I hope that you're walking away feeling more aligned with your true self, more confident in the choices ahead, and ready to leave the safe path behind, knowing you've got everything you need within. Remember, the journey to you isn't about finding one perfect direction. It's about trusting yourself enough to explore all of it. If you're ready to dive deeper, join me for the next episode and don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss the next step on your path. I invite you to join my mailing list at www.cynthiajamesoncoach.ca, where we'll deepen our relationship and you can claim your copy of Your Inner Compass, a guide to charting your course to authenticity. Until next time, stay unfiltered, stay true, and most importantly, stay you.